The first digital highway of the 70s, the ARPANET, was not a commercial enterprise. It was built by graduates, from MIT mainly, with Pentagon funds. It linked mainframes on campuses and was developed by academics for academics. The arrival of the PC changed all that. When the Apple II, invented here in Silicon Valley, hit the market, followed a couple of years later by the IBM PC, anybody with $1,500 could own a computer, and the PC business took off like a rocket.
With personal computers proliferating on company desktops, it was a logical next step to connect them all into a network. Logical maybe, but first someone had to figure out how to do it. And the guy who did was Bob Metcalfe.
Metcalfe is one of those super bright geeks who started his computer science career as a summer job.
I took computer programming courses because my fraternity brothers told me that if I took 6251, which was systems programming, that I could get a job in the summer for appreciably more than I was then getting during the summers as a cabana boy. I was at Harvard, miserable and unhappy, looking for research, and I ran across ARPA opportunities to work on the ARPANET.
He turned his postgraduate thesis at MIT into a research job at Xerox PARC.
The guys at Xerox PARC were living in the future. The real world wouldn't see the IBM PC until 1981, or the Macintosh until 1984. But at Xerox PARC, they'd already invented a personal computer, which they called the Alto, and there was one on every researcher's desk.
We knew as a fact what the world was going to look like 10 years, because we had already built it and we saw that it worked. So we knew what to do. First you do this, then you do this, because we did it already. People don't get how revolutionary that was, but it was our research goal to put a computer on every desk, let alone every building. So we needed a network that would connect hundreds of computers at hundreds of kilobits per second at hundreds of meters of separation. That was our spec. And out popped a network for doing that at 3 megabits per second among up to 256 computers separated by up to a mile along one big piece of coaxial cable, which we called the ether.
First they were able to just send a few signals back and forth, and then a few bytes back and forth, and entire packets, and then they were able to do entire streams of packets. And after a while it really worked, and they created a lot of Ethernet boards, and everybody in PARC who had an Alto got a board, and we could start using the Ethernet. It was a pretty exciting time.
Bob Metcalfe isn't just a clever technician. Bob's also street smart. He decided he could make a few bucks out of his Ethernet brainwave, so he opened up the directory of venture capitalists.
Starting in November '78, I started going through that directory, having breakfast, lunch, and dinner with everybody I could find in that directory. Not to raise money, I just asked them how to start a company. In June of '79, I sat down to name my company and ended up calling it Computer Communication Compatibility, 3Com. And by the time I left in 1990, we were $400 million a year with 2,000 people. And now, in 1997, 3Com is a $5 billion company with 12,000 people. Incredible.